may remember Janelle. She was on stage here a couple of months ago. Thank you, Janelle. She was on stage here. I love it.
What is that? Like, that's not fair.
She runs a nonprofit called Beyond Freedom, which is one of the most, this nonprofit, when I tell you, this nonprofit means a lot to me because I found it to be true when it was right in my backyard. The next person I'm going to bring up is Sam Yu. Sam runs a company. Let's give it up for Sam. Hey, it's supposed to be on here. What are you doing? It's supposed to be here.
You didn't call her? Yeah.
Come on, Lauren. Mrs. Mitchell. Let's give it up for Miss Mitchell.
All right.
Now, is this someone else that's missing? Via, we all set? All right, cool. We're gonna start with Adam, man.
What's up, man?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Amazing.
By the way, awesome crowd, guys. Like, this is sweet. You guys are staying until the last minute. All
right.
Okay. No, I'll tell you this one thing. I mean, this is dedication for real. Like, for all of you guys that are staying, it's like 6 o'clock on a Friday evening when you can go out there and party. I know all of you guys are going to be up to a lot of amazing things in the future, so give a round of applause for all of you guys.
All right.
Man, so you know the podcast called Mobile Insider?
It's actually a media agency, just to clarify.
Okay. So it's more than a podcast.
100%.
So is it on the front end that it's a podcast?
From a branding perspective right now, yeah, in a sense. But pretty much I run a marketing agency. That's what
Okay, and what does the marketing agency do?
So basically, we work with B2B businesses to help them produce their own podcasts and stuff like that, and help them, with 3 different things, which is recruiting, sales, and brand awareness. So we help connect them with influencers, we help them blow up their brand, and make a lot of money. I mean, who doesn't like doing that?
Cool.
Yeah.
So who have you had on your podcast? Like, tell me some of the influential people that you have on your podcast, and why do you have them on the show?
So, I mean, a couple people off the top of my head that you guys know, Patrick Bebe, the Cardones, Dan Fleischman, and all these guys over here that were standing up, Ali, Joe, Chase, have pretty much, most of the people that you guys met today have had the honor of sitting down with them, really discussing a lot of cool strategic tactics on our podcast. And honestly, the reason to
Oh, Kyle. My bad. Kyle, come on, Kyle, man.
Oh, we got one more missing.
Come on, Kyle.
What are you doing sitting back there then, man? Dude, get up over here. Hey, round of applause for Kyle, man. Everyone was so quiet.
All right.
And then is there one more seat there?
One more special guest.
Who wants to come up?
And then Michelle. Let's give Michelle in the back. Michelle.
Right there.
Yeah, you. Michelle. Yeah, you. All right, she had no idea. She literally had no idea. I saw her in the back. I said, no, you come. Let's go.
Wanda, you leave it?
No, this is really a mover and shaker. I didn't know she was going to be here today.
Okay, I'm filming in the
I didn't know that Michelle was going to be here today. So let me ask you a question. Why do you have influential people on your show?
So when it first started, it was honestly more of kind of like a selfish-driven reason. It was like, okay, what's the most logical way I can build a business in the fastest way possible today?
Yeah.
Get in front of multi-millionaires and billionaires who have done it and learn from them and partner up with them.
Right.
So I started a podcast. But then as I started to do it, I realized, oh wait, there's a lot of value that comes from this kind of content. Like I can seriously, not just help myself, but help others do the same thing. And I was like, huh. Because actually, long story short, I was in the tech space for 2 years before the media. So I was running a 7-figure business and it was doing really well. And I left it all because I realized that my potential lies way more in what I do. So basically when I first started, it was more of like, okay, I need to figure out strategies on how I can, grow my business super quick because I'm all about speed. And now I do it though because I realize that I can really empower a lot of people through the content we create and just, I love being a connector, man. Like, I'm the kind of guy, you can come up to me literally after this and tell me, hey, can you connect me with Grant Cardone? I'm like, sure, here you go. Like, I love doing that. And so it's kind of like, being able to do that at such a young age and being just your normal average Joe, it's kind of like, not to talk anything about Joe, but it was just I was like, I could really become an example for people.
100%.
You know what I mean?
And have you found that to be true? That you are an example for people?
It's funny you say that because me and my team were so focused on just the grind, so I barely come out or like get out of my, I guess you could say, cave. And then when I do, a lot of people approach and they're like, oh, I love what you're doing. So I guess you can say, yeah, slowly impacting person by person by person, and I'm all about that. I mean, whether it's a crowd of 1 or 30 or 100, I'm like, hey, I'm going to deliver the best value I possibly can.
Boom, let's do it.
All right.
Hey, it's really important that in your progression that you guys look back. Yesterday, for the first time in 3 years, I went to LAX, and I looked at the shuttle, the area where I landed, got off the plane, got out of the terminal, and when I got into the shuttle, I looked at that tarmac, and I said, man, I remember coming here questioning my purpose. As I was driving back to the Westin, and I came in and I sat down right here. And there was a song that I played. All my staff was sleeping in the hotel rooms. And I played a song called, it says, No Longer a Slave to Fear. It's a worship song. Yeah. And I sat down right there in the middle and I looked at the audience. In my head, I visualized it. And I started crying. Because fear is probably what's going to stop me back. Fear is probably what's going to hold me back. The fear of, okay, how many people are going to show up? The fear of doubters and naysayers. There's a group of doubters, and I'm going to be real with you. In the speaking space, I said, dude, fucking 24, what can you do? And so, these doubters, what I did was, they actually said that, hey, well, how many people are going to show up? This was that last event. He said, how many people are going to show up? And he did some math calculation. He said, dude, I think we had an audience of 12 people. So what I did was, when the seats were filled to the back, I sent him a video. I said, maybe we can do business next time. Right. Look back at your progression, where you came from, to where you are now. And recognize that the growth did happen. Not only that, as you look back, recognize there's a group of people that are behind there and saying, hey, I want to be like you. I want to be like you. The biggest lie is to compare yourself. The biggest lie you can tell yourself is in comparison. I'm never comparing. I bring people making $12 million a month. I'm not comparing myself at all. If anything, I'm inspired to recognize that what it is possible. No comparison. So don't compare yourself. Because there's this person's a millionaire, the Lambos are out front, it's one of the speakers, and they're just talking at me. I'm not talking at you, no one's talking at you. They're talking to you, with you, for you.
And I want to add on to that, man. Because, talking about comparison, I mean, let me ask you something. What does success mean to you?
Great question.
Wait.
Success means to me that the opportunity to support a large group of people to feel fulfilled. A large group of people to have that feeling. Remember I was talking about the feeling in market? To have that feeling of, I finally feel fulfilled. It hit me when we were in Mama Gillian, when we were, now I was like, shit. I was like, I'm the leader at the table, I can't cry right now, shit. But we were in Dallas, Texas, because they're on tour with me. So Reginald's mom comes on the tour. And she's like supporting us. They live in Florida, but they fly anywhere we go. Progression goes. And so we were in Dallas, Texas at the table, and she said, Andy, because of this, I know what my purpose is. And I looked at her, I'm listening, and she goes, I'm gonna write a book about the time that I nearly died. And I'm gonna share my story. With all due respect, Mama Gavin, how old are you?
I'm 57.
57. And when I saw that, I said, a 57-year-old woman, how many people are behind her, are going to hear her message, experience her legacy, and what if I stop because of fear? What if I say, progression is too big, I can't do it. Your goals, your vision is a necessity to accomplish. That big vision that you have, it's a necessity for you to accomplish. And the reason why I'm bringing so many people here is my belief and my theory is that some of y'all may not like Adam. I don't care. But some of you may look at Janelle and say, I'm connected to Janelle. Or vice versa and say, I don't like Janelle. So my goal is to bring as much value as possible that you have an opportunity to connect with people in my network. That's the attraction part. So you might not like Adam, You might not like Janelle, but you like Sam. But most importantly, to answer your question, brother, is to experience fulfillment and give it to others as well.
You know, I want to make sure everybody gets to talk, but the reason why I brought that up is because you talk about comparison, right? How many people in here have compared themselves to someone else? Practically everyone, right? You know, I do that all the damn time too. But what I've come to realize is one simple thing. I asked you what success means to you. What does success mean to you guys? Ask yourself that question. Because anytime anybody comes up to me and says, hey man, I want to be successful, I'm like, what the hell does that mean? Like, why are you comparing yourself to, like, I don't compare myself to anybody. I really don't, not anymore, because I don't care. Because I'm like, wait, am I a good person? Do you guys believe you're good people? Right.
Yes.
You succeeded. Congratulations. Round of applause. You know, like, you guys are doing great in your life. So, like, what is success truly, you know? And so, but that's pretty much it, yeah.
Okay, I said that, Michelle. Michelle, mover and shaker.
Yes, sir.
So I want to bring up Michelle here because I see her moving and shaking. When I moved to California, if you remember the awareness funnel, the first part was awareness. So I became aware of what Michelle was doing. Now, what I see when I look at Michelle, the brand, what it identifies is that it's a confident woman who is given access to growth and strategy to other confident women. Would you believe it?
Well, I receive it, and I do believe it, but I really receive that. So thank you for anchoring such a safe place for us all to come and to be ourselves and to just be committed to growing, not just growing ourselves, but growing together. And look at what we get to do together now.
What is your vision for the world?
I believe in global unity. I believe that there are a lot of things like religions and politics that try to separate us, and I think that what's true within each of our hearts is if you would all just close your eyes for a moment and just breathe in and out. This is what it's all about. This energy and this vibration that you created a space where we entrepreneurs, people who want to move and shake the world, are here to make an impact. And I even met her in the restroom earlier, and we had a moment together. And it's all about those special moments. So my goal for the world is to, first of all, focus on the children. Global Unity Foundation focuses on helping women who are being eradicating sexual slavery. We work on feeding the hungry, sheltering the homeless. We even work with foundations who are serving the mental health community. So really my goal for the planet is wherever the planet is, it is not my job to change the world, it is my job to embrace the world where it is so that we can be the change. That's what
Amen. Yes. Yes.
So I met Janelle, one of my team members, Jason, said, look behind him and say, hi, Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Team members said to me, hey, Andy, we had a progression conference in a couple of weeks. I met this woman, she wants to speak, should I bring her to the office? So Jason brought her to the office, I met with her, and she expressed to me about the human sex trafficking. And she was like, it's still happening, it's still happening. She said, Andy, I was sex trafficked, and it still happens to this day. I said, I mean, like, yeah, like, you know, like rural parts of the country maybe. And she's like, no, it happens in our backyard.
Yes.
So then I went out, and I went out and met with other people. I did a personal development training program. And someone I did the personal development training program with was near and dear to me. And she said, oh, I don't really talk about it, but I was sex trafficked. I said, what? It's happening more often than I thought. So that invited me to say
In
more
great
about
numbers.
Yeah.
Let's bring awareness to the cause. So what is your cause now?
Well, real quick from what you said about success and fulfillment, I just want to clarify that for one moment, because you said fulfillment was what your message of success really is. And success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. So I think that's interesting that is your core,
Amen.
Belief on bringing success to everyone, that they have fulfillment, because that's what it's about ultimately.
Right on.
Yeah. So what Beyond Freedom does, and what my mission is to really change the faces of how we view sex trafficking. How many of you have seen the movie Taken? Great movie, right? It was a great movie. However, that's not how it happens. I mean, let's just say it does happen like that, but the instance is like, being dragged into a van and, sold on a yacht for $1 million. It's so luxurious, right? And that's not how it's happening. The majority of it is happening in a 5-mile radius from here, at the strip club down the street that I saw when we were driving here, and even in this hotel, there's young women that are being trafficked against their will and bought and sold by men in a $150 billion global industry and growing. That's the second largest criminal activity in the world. So when you play those numbers, you know that it's happening in your neighborhood. And so my goal is to just change the way we're looking at sex trafficking. But not just that, the awareness, I think Jeffrey Epstein has brought a lot of attention, right? To, have you guys heard of Jeffrey Epstein? You have, right? Yeah? That's to live under a rock. Well, I told Andy about him, now he knows. So he's really helped us with the movement, actually, right? Because he helped regular Americans see, oh my gosh, this is happening. It's a business. And you guys are all, many of us here, Andy, you guys, we're all businessmen and women, right? So when you think about sex trafficking in that light, you understand they're not looking at your daughters as, as a human being. They're a commodity, And so what Beyond Freedom does is we go in and take young girls whose lives have been destroyed and take them from product to person, because that is a job that shouldn't be done alone. When I say, guys, I didn't have time to share my story, but I suffered so much trauma, head trauma, that I actually, so many concussions and head injuries that I have brain trauma now. And if you guys think you can't write a book, I wrote my book in a day, even with all the head trauma, because I said I'm not gonna let anything stop me. I spoke my book. It's taking a little longer because I had to be transcribed, and now it's being edited. But the hardest part of my time wasn't that, it wasn't being raped, it wasn't being strangled, it wasn't even being branded like cattle, having another man's tattooed on my body in numerous locations. Like, that was the easy part, guys. The hardest part was coming out into a world that did not know how to embrace me, that did not understand, I had a 7th grade education. I've been trafficked for 10 years. That's a pretty large gap history of a job. Like, I don't have a job, the 7th grade education, but what I do have is now a learning disability, and I have a newborn son to raise.
What's his name?
His name's Prince Amadi, and Andy's mentoring him, actually. And so he was my reason. You guys all have a reason why you want to have a fulfillment in your life, right? He was my reason. But not just him, because I know that I've been blessed with people like Andy hearing my story and giving me a platform. People like Tony Robbins, who was influential in saving my life. He reached out to me when I wanted to end my life, because I thought, shit, it was fucking easier being bought and sold. I want to go back to that life. Being out was the hard part. Trying to raise a son and trying to do math classes when I can't focus because of the brain injury and keep a roof over my head in Orange County, that was the hard part. And having nonprofits saying, we'll pray for you, we'll put you on our mailing list. So
I think the gap between an understanding of what actually takes place is the forefront.
Yeah.
How does someone get into that space?
That is a great question, Andy. So we live in a vulnerable society. Can you agree with me, right?
Amen.
Who here does not have a social media account? That's right, yeah. So nobody. So we broadcast our lives on social media every single day, and that's fine. We use it for business, right? Use it for podcasts, which I'm going to be a guest on very soon. So we have our entire lives everywhere. And listen, this is a business. So pimps are not thinking of it like, oh, this is playing, like, we're gonna maybe try to get a girl. That's what I'm gonna say. They scroll. Well, one thing they do is they scroll on girls' social media accounts. So girls are posting where they're at. They're posting when they've had a fight. They're posting when they're arguing with friends, or when they, been, with their boyfriend, they're falling out, and they go in, and it's psychology. How many of you taken psychology classes or have done any of Tony Robbins' trainings, right? It's the 6 human needs. We all have them, and we will do anything to meet them in a certain way. So these pimps and traffickers go in and they see, oh, this girl's having a bad day. Let me go in and be what she needs. And then they create a bond, they create a trust, and they make you think that you can't live life without them. And then they blackmail you by, number one, like some of the girls I work with are of Asian descent, and they would be disowned from their family or friends if naked pictures of them or their the adult sites got back to their family. So they stay with their traffickers because they feel like this is the ultimate disgrace. So they'll use any tactic, because listen, this is a reusable product, right? The first rule of business is what is it? Get a nice profit margin, right? You want a good product that adds a lot of value, that's not cheap, but you can get it, at a good rate and sell it for a high value, right? That's how you make money. Well, traffickers are they are making so much money because this product, this young girl, most of them around the age of 12, can be used over and over
Oh
and
my
over
goodness
again.
gracious. So how can people support Beyond Freedom to support the cause? How can they support?
Well, the first thing they can do is what you're doing right here. So give you guys a nice round of applause because you're here.
Amen.
The second thing you can do is to follow us, because first of all, I'm like Andy and everyone up here, I want to give a lot of value. So if you follow us on Instagram and on our website, I'm constantly offering free tips on how to protect your family, your children, and your community. Yes, this is a business. Yes, I'm trying to obviously raise support, but I want to help you. I want to save a girl's life. So that's the first thing you can do. BeyondFreedomInternational.org is our website, and you can find us on Instagram at Beyond Freedom OC. So those are two things you can do. Another thing you can do, if you have kids, nieces, or nephews, spend time with them, guys. Put the phones down, put the iPads away, don't go to the movies. Sit down with your children and be with them. Talk to them. And if you do have teens, have their passwords. If they say, oh, that's an invasion of privacy, well, that's too fucking bad. We do not live in the same world we lived in 20 years ago. You ask them for their passwords and you tell them, hey, I just want you to know I have this. If I notice any change of behavior, I will be checking it. I will honor and respect your privacy, but this is for your protection. The third thing I want to give you real quick is if your kids are playing games on their iPads or any kind of game, even if it's a proof game, you have all the blocks on, just know that every single game has pop-up windows where live chats can be hacked. I was on a panel once with an officer in Huntington Beach. Her job was to go in and trap sex traffickers. That's what she did. And she was cooking dinner for her family, and her daughter's about 4 or 5 playing her iPad. Like a proof game, she's cooking dinner. And all of a sudden she hears this little girl laughing. And she's like, honey, what's so funny? Like giggling, cute. And she's like, oh, nothing, Mom, I'm talking to Mr. So-and-so. So know what your kids are, what games they're playing, and make sure that you have the appropriate blocks on there. I'm not into all the technology, but there's some great resources out there like Thorn Ashton Kutcher's nonprofit that they really help to school you on that. So those are just a few things.
Boom.
Yeah.
Bringing awareness.
Yeah.
Let's give it up for them.
Thank you. Amen.
And then Kyle. Man, mover and shaker. Came all the way from San Diego. The opportunities where, guys? So Kai decided to show up. Thanks for showing up, Kai. In the world of transformation, making real strong move. Share with us what you got going on, brother.
Wow, I'm just blown away being on this stage. First, I want to give a huge amount of respect to Andy. I have a 21-year-old son, and I want to be just like you. Like, literally, wow. And this panel and this amazing group of individuals here. What is our vision for the world? All of us, right, have the same vision. We're here to transform the world, bring love, bring unity, get people out of this fear-based mentality and step into, love and abundance. Who's ever read the book, A Course in Miracles? Yeah, definitely a book that has transformed my life. I'm 46, I'm gonna be 47. I learn every day that I know nothing. So many amazing things are happening now because I don't know anything. I'm studying, I'm at school every single day.
For context, what is your business?
Yeah, so the context. So we are a sales and transformation seminar company that focuses on entrepreneurs, leaders, influencers, salespeople. So we train all the big corps, Bank of America, the Century 21, the Keller Williams, the Remax, the New York Lifes, the WFGs, all the big Fortune 500 companies. And the thing that makes us unique and different is that how many of us know someone, I'm just gonna ask you, in your specific field or your industry, you know someone that is top. They're the top earner, they're the rock star, right? You either know them personally or you know of them, right? Someone who's at the top, right? And if you had a piece of paper and you could write down what you think they do on a daily basis, what time they wake up, do they go to the gym, do they not? How many calls do they make during the day? What is their level of activity? Like if you had to guess an example here, Andy, if you were to say, okay, this is what I think Andy does in his given day, how many of us would be able to write down quite a few things? We know that he's making a lot of calls. He's showing up at all these events, right? He's doing all this behavior, right? How many of us would say, I know pretty much what this person does? Yeah? How many of us are actually doing that exact schedule, that exact calendar? And that's the issue. What we educate people is we all know what we need to do. We all know exactly what we need to do. And there are many coaches, many speakers, and they get up and they're fantastic and they're amazing. They tell you, this is what you need to do. Well, you don't need to tell me what I need to do. I already know what I need to do. The issue is I don't do it.
That's correct. And you're 46 years of experience, and especially doing a lot of work in transformation, which is in depth into the mind of why, essentially. Why do people not do what they know that they need to do?
It's, if we were to sum it down to one thing, go spiritual, it's something to do with fear. It's some level of disconnection from this, which is really disconnecting from myself. Because when you see yourself the way your creator, whatever religion it is, when you see yourself the way your creator sees you, you know what your life is supposed to be about.
Amen.
When you're not connected to how this creator sees you, and you don't see yourself that way, well, now you believe in the little self. And the little self is the scared little boy, scared little girl. The little self, we talk about comparison. Why do we compare? Why did I spend most of my life comparing myself? I'm not as good as this person, that person. I spent my whole life comparing myself to others because I didn't see my own value. And who knows John Shin? Some of us know John Shin. Just left his house, had an amazing meeting. We trained his team. John was saying something about, because John is fantastic, he's an incredible man. He was speaking about having awe to someone else. And I said, actually, John, we're not to have awe of anybody. Because what makes them any better? We can give them respect. We can respect their expertise. But you should have awe for nobody. You should see everybody as your brother and sister, and just like you know, when someone's making 12 million, they inspire you. That's the possibility. So tying this all together, the reason is, yes, we have a self-conversation, and it doesn't change overnight.
What is one thing
and it's a breakthrough, or we call it a miracle, it's the same thing.
I know how deep and extensive your work is. What is the one thing that we can do to start going in the direction of progression, away from the negative self-talk and the negative self-belief, into what we truly are to be?
I would say there's so many that I'm going to just make it simple. Focus. Focus is so simple. Focus on what? Focus on what you want. Right? Who knows Les Brown? Les Brown interviewed me on a show a while back. Same thing. He talks about when you go through the valleys and the peaks. If you're constantly focusing on where you're going to be going, what you want to create, not focusing on what you don't want. We all know focus. Whatever you put your focus on is what you get. So if you're focused on I don't have enough, then that's just the energy. It's focus. You've got great people in this room that you get to focus. You've got Mr. Bill Walsh, you've got Ryan Long, you've got Andy, you've got this time. Focus on what you want, build relationships, and don't look back. Don't look in the rearview mirror unless you want the gifts and the learnings. And the gifts and learnings is always good because there's no failure, there's only what? And feedback. Right? So it's really three things, and I'm actually an NLP, some of you may be a bit familiar with NLP. I'm an NLP trainer, so I certify people and coach people on NLP. And it's really mindset. How important is mindset? Everything. It's also language, effective communication. How important is to be able to speak into someone's listening, especially yourself. Get yourself out of bed. Get yourself going. Who's having a hard time getting yourself going? Who has a voice that's telling you, snooze, snooze, snooze? So like Andy, you get his energy. This is it. He has it at 24. He woke up early. I didn't wake up, like this Brown says, I woke up at 40 something. I didn't discover, and he's so frustrated I lost all these years, but no, he didn't lose any years, did he? Because when he woke up, he became one of the legends in the speaking business in a very short period of time. So you've never lost any time. That's another illusion, that you think you've lost any time. You haven't lost anything. You've been learning, and now's the time for me first, and us, and all of us to wake up and to play a bigger game. And if I can support you in any way, my name is Kaya Redford. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram or whatever.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Okay.
Last name Redford, Redford. And I'll give you a number if you want to text.
Yeah.
626-329-8001. I want to have an event with Andy and bring our communities together and support this man, because I have so much respect for you, brother. So much respect.
So I just want to share like a highlight real quick on what he shared with the connection, you know, what he was talking about with the connection and the bigger vision. And I pose a question that is not to be answered, but just to be reflected upon, where essentially the best version of your life, is that God just telling you that, yo, this is what I got for you? Like when you think about your life, you think about the car, you think about the house, you think about the wife, you think about the husband, you think about the kids, you think about the money, you think about the body, you think about everything that comes with it, you think about the fulfillment, you think about the success. Is that essentially God saying like, yo, I got this for you? My biggest fear is to go up to heaven's gates and God's like, damn dude, you only operate at 5%. Next person. Sam, my man.
Yes.
My man, mover and a shaker, especially in the Alhambra community.
Absolutely.
Mover and a shaker. I met Sam at a real estate conference. Opportunities where? In the show up. So I met Sam at a real estate conference, and we've been building our relationship in the last 3 years. What is your business? What is your vision for the world?
Well, I represent a company called Primerica. We are a financial service company. We are actually the largest independent marketing organization, financial marketing organization in all of North America. And I got involved in this almost 14 years ago. Actually, a little bit of my background, I actually started in politics. And I got involved in politics after 9/11. I saw towers go down, and I wanted to make a difference in the world. I want to make sure something like that doesn't happen again. So I got involved in politics, thinking I could maybe change the policies, laws, things like that. And once I got out and started doing politics, I started realizing something. Politics is very corrupt. And I never felt like I was actually going to do anything. I never felt like I was actually going to make any difference. So I got a little discouraged. A friend of mine introduced me to this company, so I went and took a look at it. And basically, all they were teaching was very common sense stuff, like get out of debt, protect yourself, save some money for yourself. So at first, I didn't think that was the right avenue for me. I actually told them I didn't want to do this. My background is finance, my background is politics, not finances. But my friend was persistent. I mean, he just kept, bugging me to come take another look at it. So I did, and what I did was I went to another meeting, and it was like a training meeting for new representatives. And they were talking about life insurance. And at first I was like, well, this is not a very sexy topic. But I listened in anyways, and I actually learned about something called whole life insurance, and I learned how bad it was. And I was like, how can people buy this stuff? And I learned that 80% of Americans own it. So when I learned about this stuff, I was like, well, this is not good. I know that in politics I'm probably never going to help anybody, but at least here I can actually sit down with someone, explain what they bought, and completely change their lives in a day. And that's actually how I got involved in doing this, and doing this for almost 14 years now.
So what's the benefit if someone doesn't have a whole life insurance policy? What's the benefit, like, one key take, like me, man, like, I'm 24, and we had this discussion a couple of times, but you can elaborate. I'm 24, I ain't thinking about a whole life insurance policy. I got no kids, I don't have a wife. Why would I?
Well, actually, I think one of the biggest mistakes, or one of the biggest flaws with a lot of life insurance agents is they want to convince you that you need life insurance from birth till death, and that's not the case. You only need it for when you have responsibilities, when people depend on you. So for you, for instance, you don't have any kids.
No
Nobody
responsibility though, I'm saying.
Well, if you do have responsibilities, like someone depends on you.
I think a lot of people depend on me, but I know what you're talking about.
Right. I mean, depend on your income. Okay, they depend on your income. But if not, then there might be no need for you to buy life insurance. I mean, you might want to buy it just because you might want to leave something to a family member, right? But if they don't actually depend on your income, then there really is no need for you to buy life insurance.
Ain't that the realest thing that someone who sells life insurance says?
Yeah.
When you pay, maybe you don't need it. Ain't that the realest thing?
Yes.
Powerful. So when someone has responsibilities, such as family members or children, that's the best opportunity to get life insurance.
That is correct. When you have a responsibility or someone depends on your income, that's really when you really need it. But you don't need it forever. Because eventually, people that depend on you are going to grow up, right? Eventually they're going to grow up and move out of the house and they don't depend on your income anymore. And all these years you've been putting money away, saving for retirement, that you should have a big sum of money saved up. By that point, you don't need life insurance because if anything were to happen to you, your significant other can tap into all the money you've been saving and be able to pay the bills with that.
So how can someone reach out to you to answer your questions, or even work with you in your company?
Well, yeah, they can reach me at my number. It's 626-230-7192. I also have like a display out there, so you can go to my display. I have my business cards and a display of information about my company. And we're actually actively looking for more people to come work with us. As I said, we are the largest independent marketing, financial marketing organization in all North America. And what we do is our goal is to help people build a business that can generate massive passive income. I think that's one of the another big difference between us and traditional life insurance companies is that you can actually build a business where you don't even have to get up in the morning and you actually have money coming into your bank account every day.
Powerful. Man, what has happened? I mean, from like last July to now, man, you've been doing so much. Please share.
I've been on fire. So I am Laura Mitchell, and I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm a psychologist, and I have a large contract with one of the largest airlines in the world, where I do mental health evaluations for the pilots union. And it's not that I can't disclose the airline that I work for, it's that where I'm at in my life right now, they will pay me to advertise for them. And that says a whole lot, because it was July last year, 2019, I came to a progression conference and a champion mindset conference, and I was so excited. I had been to several conferences before, but always in my career path, so psychologist or mental health, but nothing like this, nothing motivational, nothing inspirational. And I got to this conference and I sat in the front row, and I was so intrigued by every single thing that every speaker had to say. Everything they said to me was so inspiring, and they looked so shiny, and I'm so attracted to that. And I fell in love with everything about the speakers, and I ended up buying every single package that every single person offered.